I'll be the first to admit that I am getting a bit of a reputation for routinely shitting on the quality of UFC cards, or lack thereof, especially over the last year. But I legitimately think that this one on paper is the best I've seen in a long time. If you've basically got a soy boxing fan friend who shits on MMA on a regular basis, this might be the one to stick your neck out for to prove what the superior sport is. For me, it's already an open and shut case, but whatever. I could not be more jazzed for this one. It's stacked from top to bottom. Let's just hope we don't get any irritating dropouts in the meantime. If it stays like this, we should be in for a treat. Yeehaw! Right, I was a little bit confused by this matchup when it was made. Technically, both these men are coming off losses, but Emmers for me was clearly robbed in the Jenkins fight and is one of the most underrated guys on the roster. He's very well-rounded, he's got good cardio, he's really, really hard to finish, and he's faced and beaten some notable competition throughout his career. For the eagle-eyed out there, he does have a bowl of what looks like ramen tattooed on his rib, so we do have a potential retard red flag alert, so do be wary. Dennis has faced some decent competition, despite being really young in the game, but I do expect Emmers to be too well-rounded for him here. He has the reach advantage, he's got the grappling chops, and the experience to win a decision here, I believe. He's not a bad parlay fluffer on paper to kick things off, but he does seem to get robbed from time to time, so perhaps there is something we're not seeing. I'd take the money line on him though, it seems pretty good. Alright, a really good matchup here, and definitely one for the hardcores. Some will be familiar with Van's work, who came in on short notice to completely outwork Zalgas, who frankly can't catch a break, to a split decision. This was bullshit for me. Van pieced him up with slick boxing and clearly won that fight. Now, Borjas is a very nice striker himself, but in a fight that's essentially a kickboxer versus a technically proficient boxer in Van, I have to take the proficient boxer who will use less cardio and greater volume to implement his game in a fight that is highly likely to go the distance here. I'm going to take Van to land more and have the slightly better moments. However, given how close I expect this to be, odds of minus 240 are not the most enticing out there, so do proceed with caution. Yeah, this one is a nice matchup, but from a betting perspective, I do not like it whatsoever. Kang is coming off a great win against Godinez, who I think really underestimated him in there and got badly caught slipping and choked out. Shit happens in this game. My job here is to look at the whole body of work, and while he did look great in that fight, I'm not wholly convinced by him. The problem is that the same can be kind of said for Castaneda, who seems to alternate good wins and bad losses against capable opponents. Most people are taking Kang as the dog, but I must admit I'm leading on the side of Castaneda. He applies a pretty decent pressure game and has the better wrestling. For me, the difference in the stand-up is pretty negligible. I'm going to be leaving this one off my ticket, but in being forced to choose, I'm ever so slightly taking Castaneda. He's younger, he's faced better competition, and just has better wrestling. Yeah, this is a really weird one for me. I really dislike Madsden, I'll be honest. I hate his smug attitude, I dislike his pea-head, and I genuinely detest the way this man fights. He has like a Greco-Roman wrestling style, which involves no blast double legs or clever entries. It's basically clinch and try and muscle guys to the ground, then apply the trusty gay corn, wet blanket approach that we all really love and appreciate. This cunt can get fucked. On the other hand, Jared Gordon does have a decent clinch game and is certainly more well-rounded than Madsden. He's going to have a clear striking and volume advantage especially. Now, in case I haven't made this painfully clear, I do want Gordon to win. However, it's a massive risk betting against someone that fights to the bitch levels to win that Madsden does. For this reason, I'm going to take this to go over 2.5. Madsden does have a decent chin. He has never been finished, but stinks enough on the ground that if he does wet blanket, I think Gordon can survive. I need to get one more fuck Marsden in here though. Fuck you, buddy. Yeah, you can see what I mean about this card. This is another absolutely great matchup, and the odds reflect that. But I'm going to go against the majority here to side with the dog Slavaklause. This goofy-looking man has incredible stand-up, is a vicious little prick that has proven he can shut the lights out, and just as importantly, has shown a vast improvement in his ability to prevent takedowns here, which was previously a massive hole in his game. This is going to be Sadykov's bread and butter. My issue is that while Sadykov did beat both Elder and McKinney, the latter is not really that big a deal to me. He has fallen in love with his striking lately, and if he gets pieced up by those two men, those two half men, for parts of the fight, I believe Borjas is going to butcher his body and hurt you far more if he catches you, which I believe he's going to do. If Sadykov does go grappling heavy, this could be a problem for Borjas, but I think by the time he thinks about going to that, he's already either going to be asleep or too badly hurt to implement it. Yeah, this is one of the easier picks on the card for me. I'm going to take Steve Erceg. He had a fantastic short notice debut win against Dvorak, who I think is slyly pretty good. He has the reach advantage and is coming off a full camp, opposed to Costa, who is diving in here on relatively short notice. Now, if you need further convincing, just take the time to have a gander at how both these men strike. Erceg is precise at range, landing straight punches, opposed to Costa, who is a little more muscle-bound tank for this division, who tries to throw looping punches like a... I'll let you fill in the blanks. It begins with an R and ends with a tard. I think Erceg is going to pepper Costa's face off and wear him down, and Costa is going to spend more of the early part of the fight looking for a Hail Mary swing. There's always that risk he lands it, but Erceg's distance control and IQ makes me believe the risk of this is somewhat lower. I like Erceg to win a dominant decision or a late finish, wearing this man out. Alright, considering that this one has yet to be confirmed yet, I'm going to be brief. Aliev is very good, but is really so young and inexperienced that it would be impossible to pick against Rebecki. His record is also impressive with no cans in sight, and the way he fucking battered Radzhabov's leg for a mercy stoppage in his last one was genuinely terrifying. He's a savage, and if this fight does go ahead, I expect him to dog his way through Aliev, who will be a contender down the line, but is taking this one a little bit too early in his career for me. Woo! Mamacita! You know what I'm going to say? I'm shameless out here. Ricci is hot as fuck, and being the proud pervert that I am, I really can't help but be on her side. Fortunately, she really is an excellent fighter on the rise with notable wins. I just had to put my bias out there where money is concerned. Lupi's actually pretty good as well, but the concerning thing for me with her is that she has fallen short in the past when the competition reaches a certain level, which, let's be honest, kind of peaks at about a 5 in women's MMA. Ricci is very appealing as a dog. She's tenacious, she applies high pressure, but if I'm being honest, I think they're both fairly evenly matched. They're both defensively responsible on the ground and tough to finish, so again, with money on the line, I think the over 2.5 is the safest option to take here. Holy shit, what a great fight this is. Another great one. Such a tough matchup for both men, but I'm gonna go with Diego Lopes in this one, and I have a few reasons for edging him. He came in on short notice against Evloev and arguably won that fight. I'm not as far up that guy's rectum as everybody else seems to be. He then comes in with a full camp and makes Gavin Tucker look like an absolute scrub. Sabatini is a very decent striker, but his main strength is the ability to chain wrestle and find excellent positions on the ground, unlike a certain Danish pussy we talked about earlier. Lopes, though, has a few more areas of danger for me here. He can spark you out, and with his ability to work well off his back with nasty creative submissions here, means that if Pat does get it there, the threat from Lopes still remains. I can't do a distance play, despite how tough they both are, as they both can finish. But with a better stand-up game and the creative threat on the ground, I have to side with Lopes, who is great value as a dog. I like both these guys, though. This is tough. I was so frothy when I heard about it, and I can't wait for it to go down. What a fight. I'm going to take St-Denis, but this comes at an incredible risk. Matt Frevola can fucking bang, and against anyone in this class at any time is a genuine threat to chin your ass. Ask Chad Dobar. St-Denis puts on incredible pressure, which at times leaves him vulnerable to getting caught. Despite being more well-rounded than Frevola in terms of his volume, precision, and wrestling threat, his risky style in there makes this intriguing. Minus 220 again is so unappealing for me, and I expect these odds to widen as more people back Benoit. Despite the threat from Frevola, I truly believe that Benoit has enough of a chin to survive potentially hairy moments and to apply his game over 3 rounds. At these odds, I would genuinely avoid betting this one. There's way too many variables, way too many potential outcomes. But if you do need to bet on this because you need the juice, I would sign with Benoit on the money line barely. Another absolute banger of a matchup though. You know what, I called Dern overrated for ages. I thought her striking was terrible, and for someone that depends on jiu-jitsu so heavily to win fights, her takedown game has been mostly fucking horrible. Unfortunately, we are at a bit of a crossroads moment with here though, regarding Andrade's career. A prime Andrade, I believe, fucks Dern up. but she's been money-whopped so many times in her last few. Her confidence is due to be through the floor, and she's lost in such a range of ways lately that it's really hard to back her. She's been totally out-wrestled, she's been sparked out, and she's been shown to really struggle against naturally bigger girls, and Dern will be naturally bigger here. The key for Dern here will be to stay at safe distance in the first round and to not get into a firefight with Andrade, who, let's call it what it is basically a dude. If she can do that, I think she eventually outmuscles her to the ground, dominates on top. I'm going to take Dern on the money line, but if a prime Andrade turns up, don't be surprised if she catches Dern and knocks her the fuck out. She does have that in her locker. Alright, great fight again. I'm picking Tom Aspinal. Pavlovic is a freak of nature. That 84-inch reach is just alien-like, and if he does catch you, which he often does, you are absolutely fucked. My issue with Pavlovic is kind of twofold though. Number one, he is nowhere near as technical as Aspinal. And secondly, he has a secretly horrendous gas tank, which nobody has really picked up on because he finishes fights so quickly. I genuinely believe in his last fight, if Blades didn't have a brain the size of a grape and had stayed safer for a minute or two longer, Sergey would have completely depleted the tank and was there for the taking. Aspinal has really crisp hands, excellent movements, and will be aware of the threat coming back, and with a 100% successful takedown threat, if he remains patient and waits for his moment to get Pavlovic on the ground, he's going to dominate him there. The odds are the way they are for a reason. Almost everyone is picking Pavlovic, and the short notice for Aspinal is of course a concern. I just think he's a better all-rounded mixed martial artist, and I have to side with him here. Aspinal by sub in the second round is what I'm feeling, but the money line does pay well enough to go with that. Very dangerous though, it is men's heavyweight. Now this one feels oddly like a win-win and somehow a lose-lose for me here, and I think most of the hardcores will understand that sentiment. As personalities and fighters, I love both dudes. Yeah, homo, fuck it. Now this is going to be completely contingent on how well Jiri has recovered from the shoulder damage here, which was reported to be as severe as it gets. However, I'm going to side with him here. Alex is the superior striker, there's no doubt in my mind about that. And Jiri at times can be completely wild and reckless in there. Sometimes it's a strength and sometimes it's a weakness in equal measure. For me though, Pereira's best chance to win this is in the first two rounds. And Jiri is just so damn hard to finish. He's the all-round better and more experienced mixed martial artist. And if he does face moments of difficulty, I think he has the heart to get through them. And in a 5-round fight, with the option to grapple and to do damage on top, has the tank and the dog in him to take over if the fight does go into deep waters, which I'm expecting to happen here. I think Alex does catch Jiri in the first few and almost gets him out of there, but Jiri somehow chads his way to survival and drags Alex into the deep end, finishing him late. It's a coin flip, but I'm going to go against everywhere and I'm going to side with Prohaska. Might be the most excited I've been for a fight all year, and a worthy main event for any card. Alright, so this is the weekend picks roundup. You're going to tell by the color coding here that it really is all over the place, and that's because there are some genuinely really close and amazing matchups here. If you're looking for more of a sure thing, Rebecki moneyline, Erceg moneyline, the over 2.5s on Ricci and Gordon fights are probably the best ones to go for. Everything else right here is at best a coin flip. But again, I don't think you really need to bet on this one. It's an entertaining card throughout, but we are about that money, so let's go.